is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Hold.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could? Behold, the
Disney
majesty of the
breeze.
Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
this is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are still here at DillosDizResort.com. It might have been a week. It might have been 2 weeks. We don't know how long we've been here. We are still waiting for Adam to fix his smoke detector. That much we know.
Adam, would you like to do a check-in before we dive into the next round of questions? We'll wait. Your video and your
He's
music.
taking batteries out of other things to try to... Oh, there he is.
Hi, Adam.
No.
All right,
I'm
we'll
eating
check in
M&Ms.
with-
I'm watching the Yankees. What do you want me to do?
He's watching the Yankees.
Yeah, come on.
I got to get batteries. I said that. I'm not. It's over.
It's not over. It's not
It's
over.
9:30 at night here. My goodness.
Adam,
I gotta go to sleep.
before we mute you again, do you have did you have any other questions? I don't want you to feel like you're
here. We also have to say that Dr. Val and Lewis and
Yeah, what the heck? This is not my show.
We're at DillosDizResort.com.
I just knew the chirps were coming. I was trying to get ahead of the chirps. I'm sorry. I got nervous.
Beep.
This is like that torture thing that they do, like they beep you or something.
Little drops of
You
water.
go crazy.
You're
Yeah, the
like,
water.
when you're editing and go, where is it? Can I edit that one out?
Adam, what's the score of the Yankee game on this Monday
They're
night?
losing 3-1
No.
or 4-1, I think now.
Well, how are the Mets doing?
I don't think they're doing well.
I don't think they're playing because they played last
No,
night.
they're playing. They're playing the Braves.
Oh, 3-2, they're down.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Adam.
Adam, okay,
Yep.
sorry. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to those in the chat again for another episode. Adam, did you have any other Dillos-related questions? It's okay if you don't. There's no pressure. I just didn't want to be ignoring you, assuming you were switching out batteries in your smoke detectors.
Actually, no, I do have a question.
Okay.
First of all, I need to know where the secret staircase is.
Don't you know?
But did you know that Beach Club is going through all those like renovations and such? Did you know that? So they've got like the front entrance is all behind walls, and the back half is all behind walls.
Don't make us do a deep dive here, Adam.
I
They just fixed Storm Long Bay, didn't they? And
well, I don't think it's like finished yet. But
and
when I was there like 2 weeks ago, it was all like walled up. It was
and when
sad.
you say this, you say that your company is fully responsible for altering the facade of the Beach Club lobby.
No, we're not working there. We're not working there.
Adam, I don't trust you. Maz has a great idea. Adam should be allowed to ask one question for each battery he replaces. I agree. This would be motivation. Adam, go find another battery and you can get another.
All right, Adam. When you're ready, pop back on the screen.
Oh wait,
Okay.
but to you can find out where the secret staircase is if you come to the meetup in November.
In November.
Okay.
All right. We'll
Motivation.
check back.
More
in with you
motivation.
shortly.
We're just unloading motivation on you.
What? Go find another battery for one more detector and see if that's the one that's chirping.
Okay.
We gotta know.
Okay. All right. Bye.
He's not going anywhere. Maybe he'll get up at the seventh inning stretch.
Well, I'll start singing for him. Lewis, did you have another question?
Sure. So what's your earliest memory of a theme park? Probably it's going to be Disney, but a theme park.
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm.
There is a photo of me on Six Flags Great Adventure where I'm clearly being shoved to the front of the log flume as it's plunging down its big drop.
Nightmare.
I thought that was a nightmare for me, Dr. Val. Like that, I thought it was a dream I had until I saw the picture. I was like, oh no, it actually happened.
Here's the proof.
Yeah.
So that. So now, do you have the memory, or did you just see the photo? Which came first, the
No,
memory or the photo?
no, the memory was always there.
Okay.
But over time you go, did that really happen? I don't know if that really
Right.
happened. And then like I saw the photo years later and was like, oh, that's it. That's the
Yeah.
photographic evidence.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Disney would probably be my first memory, and quite honestly, I feel like the Polynesian room is always the thing that stands out in my head of like an early memory. However, there was a little, I wouldn't call it a theme park exactly, but we can call it now. It's gone. McGinnis's
Oh yeah.
in Long Island, which was, if you saw this this lot now, you'd be like, what? It's like a parking lot, but it was just a constant carnival type area, I guess. They had like a little mini roller coaster in the back, like, woo, and I always say that was like my first roller coaster, and but like I'm not sure. I don't think I was there before Disney, but I also have a little bit of a memory of that too. I don't know, but it's not.
Yeah, it was like your local church fair in that lot every day. Like they bring in
Like
the
every day.
carnival rides. Yeah, it was
I
just there
used to
every
live
day.
there.
They never should have closed that down.
Papa was very upset about them closing it. He would have that roller coaster in the backyard probably if he
If
could.
I could have bought it, I would have bought it.
Real things Papa Dillo has said. Side note, on Saturday, I was with Mama Dillo, Mrs. Dillo, and a cousin. And we mentioned McGinnis's. So McGinnis is now being brought up plenty. So
Conjuring.
Yeah.
And it was a nice, we had that, and we had Nathan's. It was a big Nathan's. Nathan's is famous on Coney Island and for the hot dogs and all that. But there was a large Nathan's restaurant not too far from McGinnis's that had like a huge arcade just when video games were really taking over. And that was always no rides, but always kind of an awesome thing too. And just to add to the Polynesian right there, to this day, I don't know how it would work, but on the side, if you don't go through the front of the Polynesian lobby, but you go to the side where like the Stitch, kids club thing is in that building. Like that building for years was the Neverland Club for kids, and then there was Moana Mickey's Fun Hut or something like that, and the arcade was there, and then there was a restaurant behind that, which I think they probably still do events maybe. And I think it was the Tangaroa Terrace, but I'm not 100% sure. But I have like a distinct memory of being in that restaurant. And at the time, the longhouses to the east side of the resort. So like and you've seen maybe you've seen video or 8mm film of me running through the hills over there, but there was no longhouses on the east side of the resort towards the transportation center. It was just all kind of grassy hills, crab grassy hills, as it were, all the way that way. And I have a memory, and again, dream or not, I don't know, but I could have sworn from that restaurant, if you looked out the windows, you could see the electrical water pageant closer to the transportation and ticket center side. So those are those, I don't know if I've never seen an angle or a photo or anything like that that suggests that exists. But that is as a memory. Is it a memory, or is it just something I've created in my head? One or the other.
Thanks for your question, Louis. Theme park Rob. I'll go in the reverse of how I started before.
Sure. Actually, I think you had kind of answered one of my questions earlier about coming to Florida, or where would you live if you had the opportunity to live anywhere. So you kind of alluded to that. I was sitting here thinking of another question though. What is one thing on Disney property? It could be at a resort. It could be at Disney Springs. It could be in any of the parks. It could be on the monorail or on transportation. What is one thing that and I think I probably have a good idea what this answer might be, but maybe some of our new listeners don't, or a new guest at the resort. What is one thing that you just it hits you in your feels? You're like, this is it. This is the one thing. If I could only experience one thing on a trip to the parks or on a trip to property, what would it be? That just, all right, I've done this.
I have to pick one.
Yes.
I thought you were going to be like, no, it's fine. Okay. 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 I would have also said people mover. I'm just going to say I would have also said that too, but I'm not going to. I will say, like, going back to the Polynesian, walking through the outside of the Polynesian at night, tiki torches, castle in the back, just being there with a nice Disney breeze, a nighttime Disney breeze, perfection. Like I'm fine. I wouldn't need to go in a park even and just like kind of take that in, and that hits me in my feels for sure. But
yeah,
there are plenty of other things that I can name,
sure.
but I'm just gonna go for that. Yeah.
The meetup that we had in September of 2024, and I'm saying this because we mentioned it on the first part of this Q&A, and now in the second part, maybe by now they have announced when the Christmas parties are in Walt Disney World, the Jollywood, and the Very Merry, and perhaps we already know what the meetup dates officially are, because they would fall in line with those parties. But I will say last year's meetup, and the first year, like, we could not start. We had to start at Beaches and Cream. Like, it just felt right to do the 2023 meetup at Beaches and Cream because of how much we talked about it. But that starting the meetup in 2024 at the Polynesian was like, oh, I mean, how could we not start it like this every time?
And now we will. Oh, no.
We will. Yes, I think that's a great example of that, because my brain first went to, man, when I'm walking out of the studios at the end of the night, I mean, that's it. But at the same time, it's like, how can your thing be when you're leaving the park? You're not going to see for a long period of time, which is usually the case. If I'm walking out of the studios on the trip, I'm only doing it once, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be back here for a while. So how can it be that? I think that definitely hits me in the feels, though. And it's funny though, because whether it's the meetups that we have as a Dillo's Diz meetup, or just like the trips that we've been taking, and all of a sudden finding myself like having those moments now, and it wasn't like oh, it's the last time and it's a nostalgia thing, but and Jen and I have said it a couple times, but since the three of you were there, like that Jelly Rolls night was like,
oh man,
this is 1997 for me. And so having those moments are happening more, and they're happening more in part because of the podcast and the people we meet and the time we spend time with. Because even last year, I think Jen went to look for a gluten-free beer or something over in Rose and Crown, and I think it was Angela and TPR and somebody else, and I was just on like that lamppost there in the middle, and I took like a selfie of myself of like drinking a beer, but I was at the same time I was like, this is awesome. I'm just sitting here in the middle of the United Kingdom drinking a draft beer, and and so it's funny now not funny, but just finding more of those moments because we talk about them more, and then finding them in new places, I think is equally as exciting as the stuff when we know. But I will just say also, where would we live in Central Florida and things like that? Winter Garden wasn't a thing when I lived in Central Florida. It was not a thing. It was not an area. It wasn't a place you went to. And so how that exists and that area that it is. And I've only really been up there one time at night to see my friend Ale Flores, but driving alongside the road that used to just be nothing. On the east side of the Magic Kingdom, you used to make the left turn to go over by Disney University, and like seeing how that was all built up on my way to Winter Garden, I was like, I've never seen any of this in my life, and that it wasn't a thing when I was living there, where every area was being built up in from 95 to 99. That was also something that I've done on a trip that I'm like, this is crazy. But I hear a lot about Winter Garden, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah. I just want to say that we might be able to start photos of Frank with light posts or just some sort of post in Disney where he's leaning, because I know that I took a picture of him in the studios on the stop go. You were leaning on that sign. I think that one exists. So now you're saying you took that selfie. We got to go through and see how many we already have and how many more we can get. So I just wanted to do that.
New book from Dillo's Diz, Pockets and Light Posts. Light Posts and Pockets.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Dr. Val?
All right. I had a different question, but Rob made me think of this one. And so I'm going to go with this one because I literally planned on putting this in the Discord because I got so excited about the thought of this argument. So I'm gonna throw Lewis under the bus as I do this. So yay. So we're gonna get all the way around. So a couple of weeks ago, we were in Central Florida with our kids, and as our daughter and son-in-law and our 2 granddaughters. And we took them to the Poly for the first time. We ate dinner there at Captain Cook's. They had their first Dole Whip. We watched the fireworks from the beach. We had the whole Poly experience.
Love it.
And my older granddaughter and I absolutely love Happily Ever After. We love the fireworks. We love that show. We love that soundtrack to that show. There's something about it to me that is extra special. And I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something about the buildup to when Tinkerbell flies.
Yeah.
And we were there the night that we were there. It was kind of stormy. It was a little rainy, and then it stopped and it was lightning a little bit. And I was nervous that Tinkerbell would not fly because of the weather. And I knew how much my granddaughter loved it. And I'm amazed at the Poly, the fact that you can really see her so clearly as she flies. And so after it was over, she flew and we saw her and we cried and we had the whole, moment. And we were in the lobby of the Poly, and Addison and I were talking about how much we love that moment and that I was worried it wouldn't happen. And Lewis said they really need to change Tinkerbell out for an animatronic so that Tinkerbell can fly every time. And I think no, don't even.
I said,
that's what he said.
I'm amazed they haven't. Not that they should. I'm amazed they haven't, because
because I looked at him in horror. Because I said Tinkerbell flying is iconic Disney, and he said no, it's not. So I want to ask Frank and Jen, do you consider Tinkerbell flying iconic Disney?
I mean, I would say a lot of our things, we often talk about 1992 and earlier, but Tink flying has become iconic. Nothing like that moment is everything when she flies, and has been for years now. That is totally an iconic moment. Sorry, Lewis.
It's funny because 2 things. One is working in the parks burnt me out a little bit on fireworks. So like I don't hold a lot of stock in them to this day. It comes again. I should say it comes and goes. so equally during the 90s, I think two characters, I mean, and maybe people will fight me on this statement I'm about to make. Two characters more than any, I think, rose in prominence. And especially in merch, Winnie the Pooh and Tinkerbell. I don't remember in the 80s Tinkerbell taking off the way she took off during the 90s. I don't know why. I don't know when it happened. Maybe more people liked Hook in the 90s than I did when I was 18, and I was like, oh, I didn't Dillo my expectations. But but I feel like Tinkerbell gained so much popularity in that decade, or just more people came out of the woodwork to express their love for Tinkerbell. I don't know which, but especially in how they were represented in the parks, I feel like Winnie the Pooh and Tinkerbell just became just everywhere, and until Stitch came along, I guess. But yeah, I think I'm going to say yes, it's an iconic moment, but I have to also think about what are other iconic moments in the parks to fall in line like that, are equal to that, or right up against that one, or greater than that one.
Can we ask Lewis that question? Because
what is
Lewis,
Yeah.
you were saying
that's what's interesting is too. I'm not a Tinkerbell fan in general. I mean, I don't, I don't want to get rid of her or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not just in general a Tinkerbell fan, but that moment, there's something about that moment.
Yes. But Lewis, if you're feeling like it's not iconic, what is iconic in the Disney?
Again, I'm gonna just say I didn't. It was about the human person. I like to have the Spider-Man thing that jumped. I can see them replacing it with somebody to save money, and there's a person flying above this.
Oh, it's Tinkerbell. But okay.
I'm just as happy to see Tinkerbell fly as anybody else. I don't know of any other moments that are like that either, that are just like there's something you wait for every day, unless maybe the flag raising if you're into
that's a good
one.
One
Of those
people.
One,
that's a great one.
If you're a veteran or something, that might be. But that's like those are the couple I can think of. Because most of the moments happen all the time. Like the first time you see a monorail go by, it's an iconic moment to you. And then you see like 20 more and you're like, it's a monorail.
Or I wonder, like the shows at Rope Drop, like, some of the performances they do to like welcome you into the park. Maybe those could be iconic because they're starting your day. If you've never been, it's so energetic and exciting. But still, I don't know if I would even, Yeah. Ryan says, when you stand under the flight path, she can see you and wave directly at you. That's iconic.
And when you take a lot of pictures of her, you can see the person's face, and they're just like, it's really cool to watch. But
you mean Tinkerbell? But
Headless Horseman is the Headless Horseman an iconic moment.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's pretty good.
It's definitely a favorite moment for me. I love that moment.
Now I might do a TikTok later or tomorrow, because there is a sound on TikTok. I feel like it's a Kardashian sound of like, because it's iconic and I love doing iconic stuff. It's a family podcast. I might have to do that and have Tink flying, and that's probably going to be a TikTok later. So thank you for helping me with the content. There you go.
Do we lose Adam forever? He's not even a blank.
Yes, he said signing off bedtime at 9:56. So we lost him. I don't think he found other batteries. I'm just going to say it.
So. I don't think he looked for other batteries. But
I would agree. The telethon will continue next time. Ryan had asked a question. If you could retire and work at Disney World, what job would you want to do?
I want to pose it to those who are still here first before we get to our answers. Okay. I want to know what Dr. Val and Rob and Lewis would do.
I used to say that I always wanted to be a Plaid person doing tours. But And I always kind of wanted to be a cast member at the Great Movie Ride that was on the attraction, leading that. I always thought that would be cool. But obviously now I want to be, I just want to be at the Haunted Mansion. I want to serve at the Haunted Mansion. That's what I want to do.
Me and you.
Theme park Rob, that's where you would be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I there's no place else I would want to work. Maybe janitorial, but
All right. You could sing to Frank on his birthday.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was
It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
that was crazy. Yeah, definitely the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. Lewis?
I'd like to be somebody that had a little bit of leeway to have fun, and the Jungle Cruise skipper or Jungle Cruise, working as a Jungle Cruise at all, because they get to pick on people and have fun and kid around, and they have a script, but they don't have to go completely on the script.
Right. It's a good one.
I could see that would be a good place for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd be in trouble.
Absolutely.
I'd say something.
I get called into the office a couple of times, but it's totally worth it.
Kind of like the people that do used to do the Frozen show in Hollywood studios.
Yeah.
I used to love it when they would do the crashing of the sled. And there was always that the sled blew up, as sleds do. That's all my favorite one ever was like the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. Because we were there just right after that, and it was just so perfect.
Perfect timing.
That was the worst loss ever.
Ryan said he would want to drive the boat from MK to Grand Floridian to the Poly. That's a good.
That would be cool.
That'd be really good.
Matt still thinks about my birthday serenade from time to time. It's nice.
Okay.
That was nice.
It's one of the great moments.
There's one specific moment that from that video that really gets me every time.
All right.
Frank, your answer?
It's a great. I feel like I'm still waiting for the one that would want to be my retirement job. I think this, the Galactic Star Cruiser probably would have been on the list if it was still around. It's easy to make it sound like a performing job. I should try to challenge myself by saying the non-performing job, a friendship boat. I don't like how they back in sometimes, so I think that would be my biggest concern.
If Frank went home to Papa Dillo and said, "I'm going to be driving the friendship," you're going to drive the friendship boat? Do they know how you drive? Well, when you start, though, we'll come down. You gotta go down.
Did you tell them how many times you failed your road test?
100%. That would be the reaction.
The answer is twice. I feel like that's where I am with that. Can I think of anything else? Is there like an attractions job that I think I could do all day long and bored people on? I mean, Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror both have that kind of performance vibe to it.
Rise. I think you would be good at Rise.
Being it, too. Yeah.
What about just bringing people into Ogus? You could be like a host at Ogus.
Yeah, that's true.
See, I thought I'd get it away with the Frozen attraction.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Or Savi's. It'd be the
Savi's.
the people that.
Oh, that would be
Savi's.
good.
Savi's is a good one.
Yeah.
That would be a good one.
It's all very repetitive, though. That would be the challenge, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing would be working in the studios again would be just so bizarre. All those years later, it would be so weird. In the best possible way. Did you answer this question, Jen?
I have not.
Okay. I'm done. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, what's your answer?
Savi's is the answer.
Savi's is the answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I am with Val a bit that I used to want to do guest relations. And there was a point when I was working there where cast members could request to like do a swap day. And we were, as operating participants, allowed to put in for a request for that as well. And I put in for guest relations. I didn't get it. I don't think that was my only choice. I was like, well, okay, I'll just stay here then. But that was something, and doing the tours, but I also felt like that was it. I wanted to be a tour guide or just a guide in general during Super Soap Weekend, so I could escort the soap stars around. Oh man, that would have been amazing. So that was my specific thing. There is still a part of me that holds on to, as we may have mentioned before, that Frank and I were told to go into hotel management by our guidance counselor in high school. We had the same guidance counselor 7.5 years apart, and somehow we were both good fits for hotel management. But there is still a part of me that's like, oh, I would work in the beach club. I don't know what. Like, that's always my go-to as well. Like, if I think about working in a hotel, it would be the beach club. And I think I saw on LinkedIn, someone posted a job for in a resort. And I was like, oh, is this my calling? Do I need to reply to that? I did not. But sometimes I think about that. But then, like, if it was a retirement thing, would I do something different? I don't know. But those were my first go-to answers, I would say. So, yeah.
I will say, when we had Barry Jacobson on earlier this year, and he just talked about what he was telling the stories about working at the Polynesian. I was like, well, this is what the guidance counselor was talking about. Like, this is why do I find all of these things so awesome?
Yes.
And and I was just like, this is what I would want to do, is just walk around the Polynesian all day and multitask. Like, all right, I'll fold a sheet. All right, I'll lifeguard. All right, I'll do all these things. Yep. It was I really loved that part of the conversation, because I was like, oh, this I get it, I think, finally, of why. I get that. Yeah. And beach club always just felt so open. I always felt like that, where obviously we love the Polynesian so much. I don't know, and I would never turn it down a job there, but I feel like there is a openness in terms of space and brightness and everything to the beach club that makes it more appealing. That light blue color on the side, that paint, whatever that paint color is, I need to know. But I also wanted to say, in the Be Our Guest book, that is all about Disney guest service. Like, my favorite thing in that book is, and I think I asked Barry, I couldn't remember his name that day, but whether he was there at the time, but there was like a general manager or whatever who came up with, certain Polynesian words and phrases that supported the guest service that they did. And I thought that was like the perfect, I just, that really appeals to me and really makes those kind of experiences fully rounded. I won't say immersive.
I wanted to go to some of the questions I still have that were posted in the Discord. One was from Nate, specifically for me, asking what it's like to be besties with Josh D'Amaro.
Oh.
I don't like to brag about it that much, and people have their opinions, so I'm not going to get too far into things. Here's what I know. I ran up to Josh D'Amaro. I don't know who that person was running up to Josh D'Amaro, but somehow I did it and got a selfie, and that's just something I like to call growth for myself. So, if that got me to do it, that's fine. Troy had also asked, what is the next attraction to be replaced, and with what? Which just makes me sad.
The launch bay is not an attraction. Is that what we're saying?
I feel like it could be. I mean, that whole area.
I mean, I think it would be a worthy endeavor. Because we've had the conversation, right? This is going to be a multi-layered response. Right. So we've had the conversations about the contemporary and the Incredibles theme, and and especially experiencing it in Disneyland, of the entrance from California Adventure into the, from the resort, the Grand Californian there. seeing it that way, and whether the Contemporary could do the same of having a contemporary entrance into Tomorrowland and connect it that way. Like, is the Tomorrowland re-theme for me Incredibles based? And whether I mean, I know that everyone loves Stitch. I get it. And it's very hard to, but, could Space Mountain, could they figure that out? I don't know. But I would think similar to the Stitch's Great Escape, I almost want to see that with Jack Jack too, and whether it would be a similar attraction. But they would need to figure out what they want to do with Stitch.
Yeah.
That's bigger than before, saying, all right, we're going to use this space. But I do think that space is getting gutted, and we're not going to see that amphitheater anymore or anything like that. That's a cop-out answer, and I'll think of a better one while you're talking.
I don't know. I super duper worry about Star Tours because of its placement, because of the decision that was made about the Muppets area and how you're not connecting Star Wars to Galaxy's Edge in any kind of way there. So I worry for it, but I'm going to pretend it's going to be fine. And I do think, though, that whole Disney Junior area and Launch Bay, I mean, the Disney Junior area has gone from just random shows. There's been DJs for kids in there. It's another space that I feel like they don't know what to do with. And combining that and the Launch Bay, you could have something really good in that area. And even if you kept it Disney Junior themed, there's a lot you could do, but right now it just feels so in limbo and what is this area? Where am I? What's happening over here? There's a couple of characters, what's going on?
And I think it's worse right now because when we were there a couple of weeks ago, we went to the new Voyage of the Little Mermaid attraction, the new show. And they have added a summer theme to that area for some meet and greets and kids parties and things. And so they've put new images on the facade of those buildings, and it just, I thought, looked very halfway done. It just looked like they were kind of things that were stuck up there. So yeah, I agree with you. I think what they're doing has made it even feel worse to me. It feels more like they're just desperately trying to make it look different.
Right. Here, what about this? No? All right, let's try this. What are we doing? It's so weird.
I because I'm not allowed into Club 33 because I won't pay the money. I don't know. I mean, I probably should watch some videos or something. I'm sure they exist about what Club 33 looks like at the studios, because behind that Disney Junior show, for years when it was a restaurant, there was a catwalk bar up top, if you're facing the stage. So behind the proscenium, there was a bar there, but I don't know how that area is connected to whatever the Club 33 thing might be. So I think my only question with that whole area is, are they disrupting Club 33 by tearing something down and connecting it? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously something's got to be done in that area.
Yeah.
It's gotta be done. Ryan's over here worrying about the Tiki Room.
Yeah.
So as I have joked and not joked about before, the amount of people wearing Monsters Inc. merch when I was in Disneyland, I felt like prompted the reason why Muppet Vision was replaced by Monsters Inc. Because only people in California are paying attention to these things. But then they closed the Monsters Inc. ride for Avatar, and I'm completely confused. Similarly, the Tiki Room in Disneyland was like full house on top of, we went out, it was full, and then people waiting outside, you knew it was gonna be full again. So there was part of me oh man, people love the Tiki Room here. It's never going away anyway.
No. We have a new guest that recently checked into the resort, courtesy of Lewis's introduction. Jason asked, just in parentheses, he's fitting right in. If they go ahead with the proposed, in parentheses, don't Google, plan to combine Hollywood Studios with Animal Kingdom, would you then consider AK a full day park? Lewis finds that one funny, apparently. I mean, hashtag always MGM is already a full day park. So I don't know, you might need 2 days, I guess, to explore everything.
Well,
1.5.
Well, are you going to, because the Animal Kingdom ticket price is always the lowest in all these ticket prices, like the single day ticket's always the lowest.
Yeah.
Like, anybody want to go to Animal Kingdom? We'll just keep it at this 100 and whatever, the low price that you see every time they say, well, they start at this price. It is the Animal Kingdom on a Tuesday, even at the busy time. That's what's happening. So if the idea is, well, we got to find a way to raise this ticket price at Animal Kingdom, what if we combine the ticket? Now you can go to both Animal Kingdom and Studios. You don't need a park hopper for that situation, but we're going to raise the single price ticket on that.
I still can't process in my mind how, and I know that it's because for us, Animal Kingdom, we have different feels for Animal Kingdom than you guys do, but I still can't process how I love to spend the day at Animal Kingdom, and I wish they would. I love being there at night. I love going through the Pandora area at night. I love riding Everest at night. I don't understand why we don't have a World of Color show in front of Everest in where the kite show used to be. I don't understand why we can't make this a full day park and just make the price the same as the other parks because it's a full day park.
And this might have been the answer Maz wanted to the question earlier about a nighttime spectacular. Maz might have wanted us to say a World of Color type show at the Animal Kingdom just so we would answer something positive about Animal Kingdom, and we know now, as Maz is listening intently, that Maz and Dr. Val are on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see something in the Animal Kingdom at night because I like the Animal Kingdom more so. I'm not going to say better because I don't not like it. More so at night. I like the vibes of the Animal Kingdom at night. I like what they do with the lighting. I mean, put me in any Disney park at night and I love it. But I do really appreciate the Animal Kingdom at night. And I would love for them to be doing more. I understand it's a little trickier with the animals and such, but it would be great to have something there. I totally agree with you on that. Matt saying I had appropriately Dilloed my expectations. I knew AK wouldn't be on your list. It's like people are getting to know us.
But Encanto and Indiana Jones are coming. It's on the way.
Right. Well, and Ryan is saying that would make it a full day park. Really? For whom?
Yeah, they would be wise, Brian, to also put something in the evening at that park.
Yeah,
to make me want to stay. I'm not saying I'm not going to stay longer when that section is open. It's true, but it would be nice to button it with the. We both saw Rivers of Light. We liked Rivers of Light. We thought maybe it would evolve, but.
Well, and I love the parades. Somebody in the Discord this week talked about the parades at AK, and I loved those parades. Like those were, because those were going on when we first started going to Disney. So that's like a very strong memory I have of really enjoying those. So yeah, I miss that.
Yeah. Maybe we'll try for now one more round of questions and see how our timing goes. If you have one, there is no pressure. Theme Park Rob, I was thinking of going to you first, but you look like you're thinking, so there is no pressure. Do you have one, Rob?
Yeah, just give me a minute.
Okay, no problem. Lewis?
I really have
That's
one
that's
that
also okay.
that you haven't answered many times because
Right.
I
Yeah.
was thinking, what was your most traumatic experience
Oh,
at Disney World?
Well,
And yours is too easy.
I think both. I think we know the answer to both of those, don't we?
Yeah.
I feel like.
I mean, a toenail and a penny. I don't know what else.
That's the first
Let's
thing.
narrow the penny is too much. So let's narrow that down to like an attraction. Were you ever terrified by an attraction? Were you ever hurt by an attraction?
Jen?
Not
Personally, yeah, plenty. I don't know if you guys heard me scream on Tron, but there's one. No, but I do recall like really not wanting to see Alien Encounter. I was like, stop it. I'm not going. I'm not going to see this.
mm-hmm.
I'm not scared of it. I just don't like it. I did not want to go see that. Were there others that I was like, really like, I'm not feeling it? I feel like there was plenty that I was way about.
Yeah, now to think. Like Snow White Scary Adventures was it for me from when I was 6. I didn't go on that ride again until I was a full-fledged adult.
Yeah.
Like that witch terrified me. The witch on the sign terrified me. It was all too much for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there were others. I mean, but the face I have in most ride pictures still is the face I've always had, which is like, I don't know if I want to be doing this. It's, that. So I don't know that any were traumatizing, or perhaps they were, and therefore it's buried. So I might have to circle back to that one when all of a sudden it wakes me up in the middle of the night.
No, and I think I've said before, the first time that I landed on Mars in Mission Space, I was like, oh my God, we're not going back, right? We're here forever. We're living here now.
Exactly what I thought. I was like, please don't go back. Please don't go back. I'm not going to make it.
I mean, that's a big one. And then I the one I think hurt, but I often was on top of a finale float in the Toy Story parade. Yeah. And so they would, you would be attached to the float. You get strapped in on two sides. You get, what is the kind of hook? The hook goes in. Oh, yeah. And you got 2 hooks there so that you can move around on the platform. And I think it was the first time that I did it. A child had run out pretty close enough to the float that the float stopped short. And so I was left to do one of those, and the belt pulled me back, and my back was not great for a very long time. And back then, I had a waterbed, and it was free donation waterbed.
Also,
on a second floor apartment.
Oh,
and so because I hated the waterbed so much that I slept on the floor most of the time in my room. So neither one of those options were good for the back recovery for a while.
Yeah.
That was that. I mean, and I got more in the employment as a cast member in my line of work that I hurt myself more than Buzz Lightyear may have pushed me or Woody, one of us, pushed, like gave a little like get out of here kind of push and toppled over across the skee ball machine or two. So that didn't feel great.
Yeah.
But still a favorite of mine.
That's a better answer than I was even expecting.
So I'm sure.
Yeah.
Jeannie's shoes often would hook around the chair in character breakfasts, and bad things would happen to Jeannie.
Those shoes were not good.
Yeah, no. The little curly toed shoes. They hooked pretty good.
Yeah. Val or Rob, do you have a question?
That actually kind of feeds into my other question that I had before I changed tracks there. We've heard all of these amazing stories about you working with characters and of course Jen interacting with special characters. But What I'm wondering is, do you have a special meet and greet memory as a guest that even maybe when you were kids, or one that really sticks out in your memory of because I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, I don't think I know your favorite Disney characters. Maybe I should, but off the top of my head, I was like, oh, I don't know that I could tell you what Jen and Frank's favorite characters are, but I just that made me think about the meet and greets. And do you have a favorite memory?
And bonus points if it's traumatic. So
this came up when we were talking to James as well for me, that Alice in Wonderland worked in the Magic Kingdom, obviously, did the parades and such, and had remembered me from at least one trip to the next. Maybe there were more, but I distinctly at least remember it happening one time. But that she remembered me and like knew who I was, and it wasn't like pretend that like I knew. And Mama Dillo was like, yeah, no, she's that. Not there's only one Alice, but she's the same Alice that was there. So like, yeah, I think that stands out as like, oh, that Alice, like me and her had a connection of like the fact that I knew her over multiple trips. And we kind of, talked about that with Citizens of Hollywood as well, that some connections were made where we would get recognized by them, over the course of multiple trips. That was like, what? Like, you remember us from the last trip? That's crazy. So I feel like that stands out as of now. But I'm going to think if there's any others that pop in.
Yeah, I think that, in terms of, and it was funny, we talk about, the characters were roaming more back then. They had a little more creative freedom. The autographs might have been a little different back then. It was a different time. And, especially for me, like I never saw, other than in parades, your Snow White, your Cinderella, your Aladdin wasn't out yet when I was that young, so you weren't seeing the big movie stars out and about. You would see the animated characters more. So Goofy in at the Polynesian Breakfast was very big for me, and that's just because those were the animated shorts I think I was picking up on first that I really enjoyed from Disney cartoons, because the more we watched the Disney Channel, the more we moved away from Looney Tunes or Saturday morning cartoons or anything like that. Nothing against them, love them all, but Disney cartoons, like we didn't really watch shorts until Jen more so remembers this in the mid 80s and late 70s and early 80s. I didn't see a lot of Disney shorts. So Goofy was the one I was drawn to first, and I could draw Goofy, which I also enjoyed. And so when I was first cast as a cast member, and they were like, "You're as tall as Goofy," I was like, "Wow, that's awesome." And so that's the one that stands out. Yeah, as Jen was saying, that first kind of big interaction I had with Citizens of Hollywood, Rusty the cab driver was involved me in that first bit ever. But 2 days later, when we were walking through the studios, he was like, "Hey, Frank," and I was like, "Oh." Like that was like, I was like, "Oh," and then what was funny is he must have moved back home now, or his contract expired, one of those things. But I never saw Rusty after that. I think that was the only year I saw Rusty was in 1990, and I did an immersive interactive show here in New York City about 6-7 years ago, right before the podcast or around the same time, and I had named the character Rusty. In part, he had three names, all of which were former New York Mets, so Rusty Staub, but it was also kind of a nod to that cab driver, Rusty. And so those are the two, that really stand out. And we've had, Terry Ward, who played Jack Diamond on the show, is doing a whole thing in Fantasyland all summer long, doing his magic. So that's really cool too. and he was Jack Diamond. He was the great HP, and we always talk to him all the time. So.
I will add one more that I thought about while you're sitting here is when Mickey was talking in Magic Kingdom when doing those meet and greets, that the now 11-year-old on his first birthday, we brought him there, and Mickey sang happy birthday to him, and it was like the greatest thing ever to have that. And Mr. Snidillo will always be like, nope, I was done after that. That got me, and I was done. But yeah, I mean, Mickey singing to your baby on his first birthday. No, that's up there for the magic for sure. Yeah. And yeah, we miss Mickey talking in that meet and greet. I wish he was still doing that, not staying so silent. But yeah, those are good ones.
Well, we're not gonna top that.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up here at DillosDisResort.com on this second part of the Theme Park Thursday Q&A here. And definitely new questions and questions from all over the place. So thank you very much for that. Hopefully, Lewis and Val and TPR, hopefully by now we know when these Christmas parties will be, and we would have already been talking about the Christmas parties and the November meetup to be the third annual meetup.
Fingers crossed.
Ooh, now they're annual.
I mean, the next one's going to go into January. We'll skip 2026. They're like 14 months.
January of 26. That's putting it close.
27. I'm sorry.
27, yes.
Jeffers, you heard that.
November
like, I just booked the hotel.
You can't. I was to say you can't edit that out. You got to keep that in because we got it on recording. We need to keep that.
January 2027.
And hopefully by now, Adam has more batteries in his smoke detectors and has figured out where the chirping is coming from. Because if it's not the smoke detectors, then what is it?
I just feel bad for whoever gets, who when Adam does the Secret Santa at Christmas time, he's just going to get batteries. The poor guy.
It's true. It's true. For sure.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here. Until next time, she's Jen. I'm Frank. Oh, that's Dr. Val. That's Theme Park Rob. That's Lewis. Bye-bye.
Deuces. The Dillo's Diz podcast is hosted by Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder. Music produced by Matt Harvey. Logos and video production courtesy of Snidillo Studios. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon with tiers starting as low as $1 per month. You can visit DillosDizResort.com to learn more. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X Twitter, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Check us out on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/DillosDiz. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. We also have merch available on TeePublic and Etsy. For all this and more, visit our one-stop shop, DillosDiz.com. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2025.